Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist, and in this case again talking about EDC, everyday carry, a topic that I covered a lot in the channel. It's been a while though since I did a video about this. I was recently traveling a little bit. I don't share everything I do in my life. I keep a minimum of privacy. That's why I don't share every single detail. But you know, I change a few things here and there for this trip, and I think it's worth mentioning and commenting on, right? So let's get to it. Before we start with the video, click subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, and the notification bell button. And as always, if you're interested in this sort of thing, especially in the stuff of EDC, I do talk a bit about EDC and such, its applications, and some of the things you may want to keep in mind. In Street Survival Skills, this is actually a chapter dedicated to everyday carry. So for folks that are, wondering about these sort of things, even today with everything going on, still EDC is essential. It's the kind of thing you will have with you when you need it. You may have all the gear in the world, but when you have a disaster, an emergency, large, small, something more life-threatening, or something just maybe a matter of an inconvenience, whatever is going on, what you have on you at that moment is the tools you'll have to deal with it, okay? So that's why it's a good idea to carefully select your EDC. Most people will have what? Cell phone, wallet, sure, your keys. Well, someone interested in survival and preparedness, and especially in the more practical approach that I like to take in my channel and with my work, is I want to have a few more tools. I want to have a few more things just in case. And when it comes specifically to traveling, these are a couple of things you may want to keep in mind. First of all, keep in mind where you're going, what you're traveling on, transportation. Give them a call, check with them, and see what they tell you. Are they okay with you having a knife? Airplanes, probably not going to be a good idea. Some other transportation may not be a problem. So first of all, do that. Check with them. So you may call the airline and they may tell you, yeah, we don't have a problem with a little blade that's under an inch or inch and a half or whatever they tell you. Then you go to the airport, TSA takes it away from you because they have their way of doing things in spite of whatever the airline tells you. So whatever is you're taking with you, point number two. So first, check with them to actually know what you can take, and number two, take something I'm not going to be saying willing to lose, but that if you end up losing it, it's not going to be hurting as much. So, for example, I traveled with this one. I took it on an airplane, and I think I was going to Italy, and yeah, no problem. Security had no issue, airplane, nothing. I'm sure that TSA would take this away from me. So I just took something that if I ended up losing it, I'm not going to be saying that it didn't bother me, but it wouldn't have been that much of a big deal. So for this trip, I checked things out, and I knew I could have a multi-tool with me, but just in case, I left behind my favorite multi-tool, the Leatherman Charge TTI, the fancier version of the Wave, and I instead took the Wave. Now, would I have been angry if I had to leave behind my Wave? Yes, of course. It would have pissed me off to a great extent, but it would have been worse to lose the Charge than the Wave. So I took the Wave black model with the clip. The clip for me is essential. Black clips, something that's less visible, so it's not as noticed. And either way, if I would just want to take extra precautions, no clip whatsoever. Many cops are looking actively so as to bust your balls. What do you have for there, right? So you just keep it in your pocket entirely, and whenever you're a bit more comfortable, you just keep it with the black clip, which is less visible than the bright chrome clip. I didn't take a knife. I just did without the folding knife and just took the multi-tool, but it's a big multi-tool and you have a very decent blade here, so not a problem. At least I don't see it to be that much of a big deal. Nice blade here, and you even have a secondary blade serrated. So yeah, for a short trip, a few days, multi-tool will do more than enough. Lately, I've been carrying this one as well. This is the Spyderco, and I'll leave the links for all of this stuff below. And guys, one more thing I'd like to mention: whatever you're looking at buying, don't postpone it anymore, because things are going through the roof in terms of price, and often lots of things are not even available. So whatever you're thinking about buying it, buy it now, because it's just, we're in that weird moment as I covered in previous videos. Great folding knife, super slim, lightweight. It's a favorite of many soldiers, actually. I've learned over the years that many guys that were deployed liked this knife a lot and took it, especially when they had like lots of magazines, rifle plates and a lot of weight, and they want to minimize everything else, many guys choose the Spyderco Endura. This is the 4 saber grind, very strong for how lightweight and compact and slim. In spite of all that, very strong knife. It's a classic. I mean, this is from the beginnings of EDC. This was right there when all of this got started. The Spyderco Endura, different versions of it. In terms of, I'm going to be changing here settings for just a little bit because I'm getting a lot of sun and it's reflecting kind of crappy there. There we go, a little bit better. So with the pandemic stuff, a couple things there. First of all, hand sanitizers. This is essential, pandemic or not. You just have to wash your hands. I mean, I'm surprised that people even needed to be told this when all of this started. This has been a staple for me for years, especially when traveling. You need to wash your hands. You're going to be touching buttons from, elevators, opening doors, anything that's in contact in public transportation even, or, grocery stores, anything that's touched by strangers all the time. You need to clean your hands. There's a number of different diseases that you can catch if you don't keep your hands clean. So hand sanitizer. In terms of the politicized face masks, respirators, look, the way I go about it is that I am of the idea that if I'm going to be indoors with a bunch of strangers, or in a plane, in a train, anything that's I'm like in a tin with strangers, FFP2 is a minimum that I want to have. Maybe I'm not using a gas mask anymore like I used to, but I feel that according to 3M, in pre-politicized times, I'm talking about what 3M said before all of this got started. They said that the N95 or the equivalent, which is an FFP2, something that filters over 95% of the particles, that's what they recommended for such situations. This has no valve, but it's more compact, so it's a little bit more convenient. Nose piece, so it adjusts kind of nicely, at least for my face, it works okay. And whenever I'm indoors or I need, or even where you're required to use it, depending on where you are specifically, you just have this, and when you're out of there, you just take it off, and that's it, right? Also keep in mind, with alcohol gel, your hands get dry very fast. So my wife had one of these little lotions, and you want to use this, especially when you're using this very often, like when traveling, you're going to be using this all the time. Your hands will dry up very fast. So a few drops of this stuff works very well for keeping your hands from cracking. And I have like a bigger bottle of this around the house for, if you're doing something and your hands are a bit drier, a little bit of that keeps it from cracking. You don't want to have any little wounds or stuff that, impairing your ability to do stuff, and keep it from getting infected as well. A number of reasons why you want to take care of your skin. And in terms of flashlight, I took these two actually. This is one of the ones I carry the most, titanium through night, nice. I took this one as well, and the idea was to have it in my backpack as a backup, but for whatever reason I had it in my pocket when this one died on me on a staircase that had no light. Whatever reason, I was using the flashlight to actually walk out of there on the stairs with no light. I said, no problem, I have my flashlight. Well, things that happened, this one died. Not that it died, it just ran out of battery. Just the battery died all of a sudden. And I fortunately had this one on me on the pocket already, so I just brought out my Zebra Light. Zebra Light model H52, I want to say, don't quote me on that, but this is a great flashlight. It's a fairly old model, but I love it. You can use AA and lithium ion batteries. I have it with IKEA, it's not IKEA, it's IKEA. So IKEA, a rechargeable battery, which runs very well in this. It's the IKEA battery is made in Japan. I think it's Eneloop manufacturer. I think it's the same thing. But these are nice. You have that shoulder angle flashlight, like that elbow shaped, 90-degree angle there. So you can just hook this on a strap from your backpack, or with this strap, you can use it as a, you can use it as a headlamp, and that's fantastic. Use as a headlamp, this thing works beautifully well. Now this is a little bit dirty and maybe not so convenient for everyday carry, but for traveling, this is my travel EDC flashlight, right? This is the one I'll have with me when I'm traveling. It just so happened to be that I also kept this one, and yeah, the idea was to rotate these later, but Anyway, and I have it with one of these little hair bands that I got from my wife, so as to keep it from, you know, falling all over the place. Yeah, this is a very lightweight setup. Maybe not ideal for all day, everyday carry, but when traveling, I think this is a great proposition. What else? In terms of watch, I took my Suunto Core instead of my, I don't remember which. I think I took this. I think I took the Pro Trek, my favorite one, the Casio Pro Trek Titanium, great watch. I think I took this one, and this is the one I've been using lately, but I didn't take it to the actual trip. Either way, a great watch as well. You know, if we want to change things a little bit or have something different, this has been for a very long time one of the cool guy tactical watches to have. Very popular for military guys, and especially some of those Norwegian, Norway, and some of those Nordic countries. They love this kind of stuff. You see them in many of the photographs of some of the guys in service over there, and in US as well. It used to be very expensive. These used to go for like $300. I think I got it for like 120, you know, just a few months ago on a sale. I'll leave the link. If you find it at a good price, I think it's worth it. I mean, I wouldn't pay $300, but 100 and something, by all means. Great watch. And even though it's not solar, which this one is, and that's one of the things I love about this one, being solar, it's a lot more, you know, just forget about it. Just keep on using it. But this one is not as bad because you have a replaceable battery here that's intended to be user replaced. It uses a simple CR 2032 battery, same one as I have in many of my red dot sites, and yeah, it's very easy to replace once a year and keeps on working. It's not that hard. I have a bunch of those batteries. They're some of the cheapest ones, and I also buy them from IKEA, so I have lots of those for a several years supply. So yes, good watch. I'm just used to this. You know, instead of having to deal with all of that stuff, especially when putting it on and off, it's just more convenient for me to just use this strap. But so as to change things a little bit, it's a great watch, and all the gadgets like altimeter, barometer, all of that is a lot more precise in the Suunto. And it looks very dark. Using it yourself, I don't have a problem reading it. It reads kind of easily. Anyway, guys, that's basically it. Keep in mind that if you want to prepare for everything that's going on and what's likely to keep on going on in the future, Modern Survival Manual, Surviving the Economic Collapse, which is very relevant these days, unfortunately. I was talking with someone just a couple of days ago with an interview that he was asking me about how this applies to everything going on. Unfortunately, yes, that's the case. Just what happened in Argentina in 2001 and the economic collapse over there, it's so many similarities with everything you're seeing right now. Inflation, shrinkflation, things getting smaller, and you know, poverty increasing, and how all of that changes your life and the way in which you should be preparing. Folks, it's going to be all for now. See you in our next video. Take care.